Happy Christmas! Look how I'm so Christmassy. I've grown antlers out of my head and they're red. That's how Christmassy I am. And there's tinsel on that picture. That's an original Vera Herring you're looking at there. So check on, you am a twat. Thank you very much for your support this year, especially if you donated to any of the Kickstarters or came to any of the shows. We've got a big Christmas treat for you with this podcast with Dawn French, which is absolutely fabulous. Oh no, that's the other one. Doesn't make sense. I hope you enjoy it. And there's loads more to come in 2017. So that's really all I want to say. I mean, hey guys, if you want to support us, you can buy a badge at gofasterstrike.com/badges or come and see one of the shows live, leicestersquaretheatre.com for the podcasts. For Rehelisper or Ultimate. And come and see me on tour. Go to richherring.com/gigs and you can see all of those. But enough of that shit. Come on. Let's just put on our antlers, put on our blue and red t-shirt. That is the most Christmassy t-shirt I have, even though it doesn't fit. Grow a beard. That's right, you have to grow a beard by Christmas. And enjoy Rehelisper with fucking hell, Dawn French. It's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leicester Square Theatre. Please welcome a man who is a guilty feminist, sort of. It's Richard Herring! That's what they do. Ladies and gentlemen, hello! Well, you're much better than last week's audience. They were a load of pricks. It's Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast. But I was hanging out with the Blazing Squad. Remember them? They always hang out together. We were at the Crossroads. That's where we were. That's where they love it down there. They call it Rehelisper, so I don't know if that's going to catch on. Thanks very much for coming along. Thank you very much to Thomas Eels. Where are you, Thomas? There you are. Hello. You're not wearing your hat. How's the champagne? This is another of our fantastic VIP guests. Sitting further back than you, and you did well, didn't you? Still here from last week. That's what I love about you. How's the champagne going down? That's the finest. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Who got the most from the back? Is it finished or is there still some more? Oh man, it's all gone. Yeah, good work. So let's see who else we've got here in the audience tonight. Any new people? What's your name, madam? Tamara. You're eating something, aren't you? It's an inappropriate moment. I want to make sure I get this on video. Hold on. I should have prepared this before. I could have done a joke about tomorrow, but I didn't. I'm bigger than that. So what do you do for a living, tomorrow?
I teach kids who are excluded from school.
Wow, can't take this. Just absolutely got me. Not you with your wonderful job. That's nice. She teaches kids who are excluded from school. So let's give her a round of applause for being very nice. What did this chancer do? Look at him. You don't teach kids who are excluded from school, do you? What's your name?
My name's Graham.
Graham. Are you with Tamara?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, done well as well. What's your job? Do you kill puppies? Stamp puppies there, but it's all right because my girlfriend, wife, partner, friend.
I manage a restaurant.
You manage a restaurant. Which restaurant is it? Do you want to give it a plug?
It's called the Beach House. It's
The Beach House?
Beach House in Beaconsfield.
In Beaconsfield. When next time, if I come in, can I have a free... What kind of food do you do?
We do Mediterranean.
You seem not sure of what you do. That took you a while to... Is it just basic slop? I'm kind of trying to discuss... It's just in a big pan. We do Mediterranean food in Beaconsfield. Not going to go there, am I? It's not worth... You're not even going to give me a free meal. What's your favourite dish of food you've ever cooked? Guys, what are you thinking about it? A duck. I've got Dawn French backstage. I'm wasting my time talking to you. So, let's crack straight on. We're going to welcome someone she's probably best known as Pong Whiffy from Pong Whiffy. She was also Mrs. Beaver. in The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. I think that might be the porn version. And, of course, the baker's wife in The Adventures of Pinocchio is Dawn French, ladies and gentlemen! Dawn French. I've never seen the last one. Hooray! It's fucking Dawn French. Can't believe I've been trying to get you on. Can't believe it.
Feet don't touch the ground. God.
It's not
Short legs, Miss Piggy.
Nearly
Terrible.
all my guests are way taller than me, so it's great to have you on.
I need to go to Specsavers. I'm very tall.
Yeah.
And willowy.
Do you remember much about Pong Whiffy?
Pong with you, I do. It's a witch, isn't it? I know that. Is it an animation?
I only look up the IMDb, and that's as far as I go with the
Yeah,
research
yeah,
for
I think
that.
it was animation.
Yeah,
I think
it was
so,
an
yeah.
animation.
It was a while
yeah.
back. It was a while back.
And Mrs. Beaver.
Mrs. Beaver, I gave my beaver, yes, to Ray Winston's Mr. Beaver.
Oh, that's nice. Of
Yeah,
course,
it was
yes.
good, yeah.
Yeah, that's not too bad, is it?
Yeah, and we showed it to Prince Charles.
Oh.
Showed my beaver to Prince Charles. It was because they had a royal opening.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even going there.
Bringing
not
the
going
tone
there.
down of this.
Not coming
it's
down
very-
that lane with you.
What about I don't remember the Adventures of Pinocchio.
Yeah, I
She was
do.
the baker's
God,
wife.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the baker's wife in
Yeah.
that. It was quite low cut. It was all a bit,
Was
you know,
it?
but, yeah.
Let's get out.
Yes, I went to Czechoslovakia to Prague to film it.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was good. Loads of cake involved and a small puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martin Landau was in it.
Martin Landau was
Yeah,
in
From
it.
Space 1999.
Yeah, who also dated Marilyn Monroe.
Did he?
He did, yeah. But he would come to work and take off that wig and put on that wig. Like that, you know, put one down, put another one on.
It's good. We've
Yeah,
learned
I
all
probably
about
ruined it for Martin Landau now. All you hairy
He's still
Martin
going,
Landau
isn't he?
lovers.
Martin Landau's still going, isn't he?
Hope so,
So, I
isn't
think
he?
he is.
Yeah.
It's like Windsor Davis. You can't tell.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
It's surprising to find. It's like when I found out Dario Fo had died. I thought, well, Dario Fo was still alive.
Oh, the playwright.
Yeah, he died recently, but
Did he?
I sort of assumed he'd been dead for about 50 years.
Did you?
It was like he
Speaks
used to-
very highly of you.
Jimmy Perry, you know, like him. So it's
This
good
has
laugh.
been a sad year. Don't start because it's just too sad.
It
There's
is,
just
it
too
is.
many gone.
My cat died last week as well.
Yeah, my dog died. Trump you.
Okay.
Sorry, dog trumps cat every time.
To watch my cat die. I had to watch it happen.
Did you?
Yeah. They forced me to watch it. Nothing wrong with it. Didn't raise the shit.
Did you put it in a liquidizer?
I did. No, I've never seen anything die in front of my eyes before.
Haven't you?
No.
What age of a man are
I'm
you?
49 years old. I see my first dead body this year, like a human being. That
Yeah.
wasn't the cat. And
Yeah.
and my cat died. They injected it. Sorry, my wife was in the audience. She'll be really upset that I brought this up. We're heartbroken. So let's talk about little Lino. Oh, shit,
Yeah.
little-
Comedy helps you to get through it, though, doesn't it? Did you go on stage the same night like Joan Rivers?
I couldn't go on because I
Because you're too sad.
hadn't booked anything in, so it would have been inappropriate.
If you could bring up a fur ball tonight in honour of your cat, I would
just-
admire you forever.
But it's like when people's pets die and they go on Facebook and talk all about it.
Yeah.
It's pathetic, but I do sort of understand it as well.
Yeah.
Look at me talking
Did you
about
do
it.
that?
No,
Did
I
you
didn't.
do that?
But I did write a long blog about it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tart.
I cashed in. Yeah. For no money. Let's start talking about. I'm very excited. We've met before,
Yeah.
but quite a long time ago, and I was quite rude to you one time. I would like to
Were you?
apologise for that. Yeah, I kind of was. I was overawed at meeting you as I am now.
Yeah.
So I'll be rude again.
Don't be.
And you were very, very nice. And you shouted, "Oh, it's Richard Herring from Cheddar." It was like in 1995
Yes.
or something. And then I
Was
said...
it at a party?
I think it was at a party, or maybe I think we were doing a charity gig together.
Oh, okay,
We're good people.
Yeah.
And then I said to you, it's nice to meet you, but you are the enemy, I think is what I said to you.
What did you mean by
Well,
that?
I think because I was trying to be cool. No, there's that. I think it's just as a younger generation, it's like the next generation of comedians back, which is ridiculous because I was just an obsessive fan of everything you did.
Yeah.
And so I was...
So what you were really trying to say is, why don't you die and make room for the likes of me?
So I'd like to apologise for that thing.
I don't even remember it till now. Now I'm fucking furious.
But I was a massive fan of, that whole generation of the kind of 80s comedy, the comic strip and the stuff you were doing at the Comedy Store, and was, that was the young ones was which you were in.
I was in briefly. Yeah. I was an Easter bunny.
You were?
And I was a person who got squashed by a sandwich somewhere. I think she wasn't from the Sally Army. Who are the people that come round?
I think it was
Jehovah's Witness.
Weirdly.
That's it, yeah.
Last week, Deborah was a Jehovah's Witness. So that's another coincidence. But yeah, you were, and I was thinking about it. I think arguably you and Jennifer, who are both in the Young Ones, are the most successful people from the Young Ones.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think you've had the most long-lasting career of anyone who was in that show.
Well, God, I don't even think to measure it like that. I always think of Rick as the kind of shiniest star, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not star, like, old-fashioned version of star, but like a shiny person from those days. And Aid, actually. Yeah, and Lexi.
But I'm not knocking any of these.
But they're not as great as girls are.
I just think you and Jennifer have done, you've had like a constant career.
We just refuse to go away. That's the thing.
And, you've worked for that the entire 30 years.
Yeah, that's true.
And
in fact,
still,
yes, that's right.
Still at the top of your game.
Well, are we? Doors close quite a lot these days when it comes to telly and stuff. I have ideas where I think, that's a brilliant idea. Of course we have to do that. Oh, you don't want it? Oh, all right. I feel quite disappointed about that. But then there's a sort of halcyon time, isn't there, when you're a bit younger, where doors are open and it's up to you to choose which one you take.
Yeah.
But and then you get a bit older and people go, sorry, I don't think that. I think we've done that before. Somebody else more attractive is doing that.
I can't believe that's true.
Well, sometimes that does happen.
Yeah.
It does happen. But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's quite sort of sobering. And probably the ideas aren't as good.
Maybe, but you keep...
Some are.
Well, I think you've done really... You've always been included in the next generation. You were in Psychoville, and Little Britain.
Yeah.
And so you've always been a presence throughout, which I think sometimes people can be like a big... I think Rick, in a way, was a massive star because he was so huge. It was very hard for him to ever live up to that beginning.
He was the shiniest person in the room if you were in the room with him. That's what it was like to be around Rick. He was very funny and loud and entertaining and very loving and all of that. So it's a massive loss.
Yeah.
It's a massive loss.
Yeah. Sorry to
bring it down.
As bad as...
So it's obviously not as much as your cat.
No,
not as bad as the cat.
And then the comic strip as well, which was the first day of Channel 4 started.
Yeah.
So I was a very excited, however old I was then.
Yeah,
quite
tiny.
old. And the Five Go Mad in Dorset.
Yeah, that's right.
But the comic strip did a huge amount of stuff on TV.
But you see, nobody... Well, I suppose Pete probably had intention with all of it. But the rest of us, it was a sort of happy accident, really.
Yeah.
Jennifer and I never intended to be doing any of that. It was just luck that we turned up at the right time. They definitely needed women at the comic strip.
Yeah.
They were desperate, in fact, for women to come along because it was so un-PC not to have women on the bill.
Yeah.
And there were no other women doing anything much.
Yeah.
There was the odd performance artist, but there wasn't really... there weren't many other stand-ups at the time. Pauline Melville, a little bit. So they were, actually, we could have done anything. But we had bosoms, and so we were in. It was as simple as that.
But you auditioned for that when you met Jennifer?
Well, we auditioned, but literally as we opened our mouths, that was it. We were in. It didn't matter what we did at all. And in fact, what we did was pretty bad for the first year or so.
But then you're the best ones out of it, so there
thanks,
you go.
Thanks. Maybe we just learnt slowly. We're kind of like bottom feeders. They go slowly and pick it up as you go along.
It's a strange thing, though, that you met at drama school.
We did.
And you didn't like each other that much to begin with, but then...
We did, but we were both training to be teachers.
Yeah.
But Jennifer, again, was there by accident.
Yeah.
She thought going to drama school meant you got tickets for the theatre. That's what she was doing on the course. I was absolutely... I'd had such a huge crush on my drama teacher at school. I just wanted to be her. So I wanted to go to the same school she went to and do her job.
Right.
And, in a slightly sinister, stalkery way. And so I did that. I just applied for exactly the same drama school she went to for the teaching course.
Yeah.
And Jennifer happened to be on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you both had a kind of RAF family background.
We did,
So
yeah.
that
She's
kind of
from the
relates.
posh end of RAF, and I'm from the oik end of RAF. But nevertheless, we're together on that, definitely. And we have employed people purely because they've been part of the RAF.
Right.
I know, it's a ferocious, ridiculous, pointless loyalty.
It's worse than the Oxbridge Mafia, the RAF.
Yeah, that's
Comedy
right.
mafia.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the Oxbridge lot were the others.
Yeah.
They were the others. Our lot, some of them went to Manchester.
Yeah.
But no, there was no Oxbridge lot amongst us.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Nothing
so
against them, you understand.
No, they're
No,
wonderful. I
I've learned
understand.
to love them with time.
But you, so you had a choice basically to carry on being a teacher or go
Yeah.
to Australia with the comic strip.
Yeah, I did. And in fact, I have to remember a fantastic headmistress. I was a teacher I was a sort of a sub-teacher at Parliament Hill School for Girls. And the head teacher, who was the head of the drama department, wanted to leave. And so, in fact, I had an amazing opportunity to suddenly become the head of the department after my first probationary year as a teacher.
Right.
So this was like fantastic chance. But I was moonlighting and working at the comic strip at night. So I was teaching during the day. Jennifer quite often would come to the school and we quickly run through something because, listen, we were this thick. We thought we had to change the material every night. We didn't notice that it was actually the audience that changed every night. That's how pathetically sad we were. So we were coming up with new and very bad sketches every day, whatever we could think of in the 5 minutes at the end of school time, down in the drama studio. Then we get in my little Ford Cortina and drive into Soho, and it's just stone's throw from here, and get on stage at the Raymond's Review Bar there. Yeah. But I hadn't told anyone at the school that I was moonlighting at night, obviously. And eventually we got the chance to go on tour to Australia as a group of us. Yeah. And so I had to make a big decision then. But I had kids that were about to take exams and I felt massively loyal to them. Anyway, I went to see the headmistress and I kind of fessed up that I'd been working at night time and that I had this chance. And she made the decision for me.
Really?
She, who needed me to stay because she was just about to lose the head of her drama department, just said, this would not be right if you were prevented from doing it and you've got a job here if you want it when you come back. So thank God for that woman, that she was so selfless and helped me to decide.
It is amazing how like little moments like that can alter an entire.
Because actually, if she had said, "Don't you think that you owe it to these kids that you've been working with for the last year?" Of course, I would have stayed there. Of course, I would have. Yeah. I suppose missing out on that tour might not have meant that I would have missed out on everything else afterwards, but it would have been a significant part.
How do you think you would have, if you'd been a teacher your whole life, do you think you'd have enjoyed that life?
Yes, actually, I do. I loved it. I love teaching, and I'd like to do it again, although I'm so out of the loop of it now. But I'd like to do it mainly sitting down with well-behaved people.
Do you think it'd be difficult going back to schools and everyone going, why are you here?
Yes, what are you doing here?
You're the Vicar of Dibley, what are you doing trying to teach me about drama?
What I'd really like to do, I'd really, really love to do, and I used to do it when my kid was little, is I'd like to go and sit and help little kids to do reading. Yeah. I'd love that. Because they sort of trust you, don't they? Yeah. Foolishly. For instance, they think you know how to read. And I can't do joined up, but I can do capitals. Yeah.
And I really I was reading your book, Dear Fatty on Holiday, a few years ago.
God, you poor thing, you've had to do so much research.
No,
Sorry.
I did this on my own.
That was voluntary.
Well, I read it on holiday, and I found it just it's so honest, and you're a very forgiving person, I think. And I felt like it was amazing, but I had just before read Peter Kay's autobiography.
Oh, right.
So I think it might have been a little bit just who is not someone who is
just
forgiving,
the difference.
or very forgiving, or thinks that anyone other than him is amazing. So it might just have been that. But it's obviously what you're doing partly with your new show, the 30 million minutes.
Yes.
show.
Yeah,
It's a very
I've got
honest.
to stop talking about myself eventually. We just filmed that show the other week, and so that's kind of the end of that now. I mean, I wrote it when I was 56. I'm 59 now, but I wrote it when I was 56. That was 30 million minutes, and after that, it's been just a complete lie. I couldn't be asked to change the poster, to be honest. And I loved all the noughts, but it's more minutes than that now. But yeah, we toured that show in this country, and we toured it in Australia and New Zealand. But I got a kind of weird vertigo while I was doing the show. It's bloody weird. I don't know if anyone's ever had vertigo or kind of labyrinthitis or something, but it's a very bizarre thing that kind of. Literally tips your world upside down. Literally, you feel like you are swimming. It's very odd. And that started to happen to me when I was doing the show. Yeah. Partly because there was a screen behind me and it was lit from the sides. And so you're looking at darkness on a raked stage and lit from the side, kind of retina singeing lights on the side, and it just sent my head into a complete spin. Yeah. So I spent most of the tour really not knowing what way was up or down and trying to stand up. And I know I'm not tall. You've rubbed it in, but I know I'm not. And I'd spend most of the show like this, legs wide, trying to stay upright like that. So I didn't want to film it whilst I felt so rubbish. So I waited until that went, and we filmed it last week. Right. Why am I telling you that? Oh, because quite a lot of what I've been doing is just my own story, if you like. And I use my own story to try and connect with people, because I'm pretty sure my story isn't that remarkable. It's everybody else's story too, one way or the other. Yeah. You don't get to be 59 without some shit hitting the fan, do you? And the same thing was true in that autobiography, although I feel like that's quite out of date now in a funny way, because it finishes obviously 6-7 years ago. Of course, yeah. So, and lots has happened to me in that time. Yeah, but I think that's what kind of good comedy's about. Is about honesty, I think, really. Yeah. And cocks. And cocks. And yeah. Yeah. That'd be longer. You can sort of mix those together. Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously, if you've got your own references of a hilarious cock, you should use it as often as you can. You're known as a hilarious cock. I am. That's all I can do. With all my friends, anyway. Kirsty Young made you cry in Desert Island Discs, so I'm gonna try and do that. Oh God, it was difficult. That was so difficult. Yeah. But yeah, do you know what I forgot? And again, really, I can have very senior moments sometimes. I didn't realise they would play the music. Yeah. On Desert Island Discs. I thought perhaps they might edit it in afterwards or whatever, but the music is so evocative, of course. So if you're saying this reminds me of my mum, who died recently, trumps your cat. I'm an orphan, trumps your cat. And then I played the music that reminds me of my mum. That was it. I was done. I was, finished. It was quite embarrassing. And you've got Kirsty looking at you from across the table saying, compose yourself, whenever you're ready. She loves it. That's all she's doing is trying to make people... She's always doing it. She's evil. And she's not evil. She's kind and understanding, and that makes it even worse. And you're just dripping snot and sort of feeling sorry for yourself. It's pathetic. And so in that show, you talk about, when you met the Queen Mother when you were a little girl. Yeah. How weird is that happened? I think it's because my dad was a sergeant and we were at Leconfield Air Base. That's where we were based, and the Queen Mother was coming to visit. And if you have any royal visit to a military base, they go and visit the officers, and they go to the officers' mess, and they hang around with the posh people at the other end. You've got the houses with gardens all the way round. And I think they wanted an oik, a reliable oik family that she could come and see, and we were chosen as that. I suppose we were the son, daughter, the proper nuclear family, but nice and safe. And she came. She arrived in a big black car, which I found very upsetting, because I thought surely, I was only 4, and I thought surely she would be in a gold carriage. Surely, and surely unicorns would be pulling the carriage. So already very disappointed. And then she got out of the car and had no crown on. What is the point? What is the point of a queen without any of those things? All the ingredients were gone. And then she barreled up the garden path towards us, and we had been practicing curtsying for 3 weeks. By then, my brother brought shame on the family. He'd forgotten to wash the back of his neck, which he hadn't washed since he was born, I don't think, and was doing very deep bowing and revealed the very dirty bit. But anyway, we had brand new shoes, lovely Clark's red shoes, I remember that. Did the curtsying, and then she smiled at us, and she had black teeth. The Queen Mother had black teeth. Why? Why can't they afford dentists or what? I don't know. I know this sounds weird. I think they were wooden.
Yeah. The human costumes they wore back then weren't as good as the ones they have.
Would they have been wooden? Is there anyone here who knows about teeth? How long ago do people abandon wooden teeth?
Well, I think did Abraham Lincoln or George Washington have wooden teeth? It was one of the American.
Well,
presidents
Elizabethans had them,
Yeah,
but
it's a
she
long
was,
time ago.
she was after that.
If they were wooden, though, she could have made them white, though, couldn't she?
She could have. I don't think she'd have bothered. She just varnished them.
Yeah.
But anyway, she had black teeth, and it terrified me.
Yeah.
Because if you're just under 4 years old, black teeth equals witch, and that's what I thought. I thought a witch is coming in our house, and nobody's doing anything about this. Get her out. So I decided not to look at her, so that I would not be poisoned by a witch looking at you directly in the eye. And I clung to my dad's leg like a sort of Randy Terrier and didn't leave my dad's leg. He just had to walk around with me attached to his leg for the whole of the rest of her visit. Unbelievable. But what was amazing was when I came to tell this story in my show, we found some footage that if you've been in the RAF, there is your military record.
Yeah.
But there was like Pathé News, like the station cinematographer must have taken this. I mean, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Royals coming to visit. So they had moving footage of this weird moment where the Queen Mother came into our house, and there's my dad, there's my mum, and there's me at 3 years and 9 months, and my brother in his dirty neck, and the Queen with her black teeth. And it's very odd to see, especially when your parents aren't around anymore. It's weird to see everybody alive and vibrant and young, attractive people. Your parents. It's weird, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I wanted to say about the comic strip that there's something I still say all the time from the comic strip that's a quote from you. I don't know if you remember this. Not when I'm having sex.
Don't be so licky.
Not when I'm having sex, but I can't even remember which one it's in, but there's a bit where you went, yeah, do it that way when you're having sex with someone. I say that all the time. Yeah, do it that way. Do you remember the one I mean? Do you remember that one?
Are you feeling uncomfortable? I am.
Do people
Frankly
come up to you in the
compromised.
street and say that to you? Yeah, I'm going to do it.
No one says that.
Yeah, do it that way. I
did
still say it.
oh, Timmy, you're so licky. I did say that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, I knew, but I loved that.
Why don't you try that instead?
No, that seems inappropriate. There was a great bit in, I think it was the second Five Go Mad, where there was a lady on the beach who had a kind of string vest on.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my
yes.
favourite. My favourite bit.
She was a gorgeous, like a model.
Yeah.
Yes, the boys were very excited about her. Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. I honestly can't remember anything.
No.
I
still
was
remember
saying
the
to you
best
back
though.
there that I did no drugs whatsoever, which I regret massively now. And I am intending to do loads of drugs when I'm much older. Because I think it'd be cheaper, wouldn't it, for a start? Like a feeble old body and a bit of crack
more
cocaine would go together really quite well, wouldn't it?
Though isn't being old just mainly about sitting around staring at stuff anyway, so that's most of what
Well,
being on
maybe,
drugs
but-
is like.
Well, with some hot drugs coursing through your veins, I should think it would add to it. Add to the fun of being old.
You live in Cornwall, there must be magic mushrooms all over the place.
There are, but I've never looked for them. Have you?
I did once take magic mushrooms.
Did you?
Yeah.
And?
Glastonbury. I think I've told the story before, but I saw. It made my heart. I was listening to African music, and my heart suddenly started beating in a really weird way, and I thought I was dying.
Yeah.
Because I never take drugs either. and apart from this occasion.
Yeah.
I'd had a couple. Well, they're all right. They make you feel a bit like buzzy, and it's fine. So I ate loads of magic mushrooms.
you?
Yeah, because I thought they were. Yeah,
Did
then,
you?
I see they're a bit. You know,
This is nothing,
there's
you thought.
not- and then like suddenly this African drums came in, and I thought
Yeah.
my heart was going to explode. So I had to be taken away to a safe zone. But I remember sort of sitting in a fit. It was sort of twilight, and there was a man. I thought the devil was masturbating with a piece of meat.
Yeah. No, that actually was happening.
Well, it could have been that.
That was happening.
But there was a great bit when I was
hate
just.
it when that happens, don't you?
I was I was lying down looking at the sky, and it felt like the sky was the sea, and I was flying above like miles away. It was
yeah,
that was
magic
great.
mushrooms sound good.
Yeah, give it a go.
I'm up for that. Where'd you find those?
A
Are they on the
A
mall?
man gave it to me. No, I bought a bag of them off someone.
Did you?
Yeah, for
You
Glastonbury.
twit.
They're just grown in the ground for free. The danger of magic mushrooms, if you pick them yourself, is that they might be different kind of mushrooms or toadstools, and then you
Yes,
die.
poisonous.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
it.
Okay,
So be careful. Make sure you
We're not
buy your magic.
advocating that.
I'm advocating if you
As a
take
hobby.
magic mushrooms, buy them from a reputable dealer.
Someone that says magic mushrooms.
Definitely magic mushrooms. So yeah, you shouldn't take drugs. It's a bad.
No.
So I was in a double act, and you were in a double act.
Yeah.
What's it like being in a double act where you actually like the other person?
Well, I love my girl.
Yeah.
I absolutely love her, and I miss her. I miss doing that bit, but in a way, really, we only did that as an extension of play.
Yeah.
So now we just get to play with, but on our own in a room with other, with our kids and her grandkids. She's got 3 grandkids.
Right.
I was with her grandchild today, in
Right.
fact, because her eldest daughter is my goddaughter, and she's just had a little baby girl. So I went round to have a little bite of her. I'm slightly jealous about the grandchildren.
Yeah.
So, but I think if I'm a godmother, surely then I'm the god-grandmother.
Yeah,
aren't
I think that works.
I think that's allowed,
That
yeah.
works.
They occasionally allowed to go around and sniff someone else's grandchildren. And I suppose you shouldn't really, should you, force your own children to have babies? That's wrong, isn't it? I know it's wrong,
Yeah.
but I can't help doing it. And none of them are in the relationships that are right to have babies yet, but I don't really care about that. I just want the babies.
Well, I sort of think I have a baby now. It took me a long time to have a baby,
Yeah.
and I sort of do feel people should just do it now because it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. How big is your baby?
She's like 21 months.
Is she?
Yeah.
God, that's really tiny.
Yeah. So
God, you
it's
lucky
great,
bugger.
and you should just do it with whoever.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Great.
You might
That's
as
why
well.
I'm
Might as
going
well.
home with that advice.
Yeah, might as well. So go and take that to your own and get some grandchildren. And
Why was I telling you that? Because of Jennifer. That's all. Yeah. Yeah. No, we were friends first.
I know,
That
but a lot
helps.
of double acts. I mean, this happens a lot. That a double
Isn't
act.
it just men that
Oh,
fall out? Is it probably?
That's what I
don't
wanted to
know.
ask. Whether you think it is a male. Because are you not? Are you competitive with each other when you're doing solo stuff?
I suppose I was a bit surprised that how much success she had on her own.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cocktail of strange emotions.
It's
about
weird
that.
when you're the really funny one and the other one goes on to be more successful. That is the kind of straight. The straight one goes on to me. That doesn't make sense.
Oh,
to
you
me.
see, I'm wondering which one you're talking about now. I do remember when she won a big award, I think, for Ab Fab, I think the first series or something. And I thought, I better be generous about this. And and I sent her some flowers. And forgive my language, but I did send her flowers that just said, "Very, very happy for you. Congratulations, you cunt." And she got it. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's like, I suppose she's like a sort of sister. I've never had a sister, but she's like a sister where you're delighted and a little bit jealous, but good jealous. And but I have that kind of envy that is also pride and delight at the same time. In lots of other female comics.
Yeah.
I had it with Morwenna Banks. She came up with an amazing character that was a funny little girl. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Character she played. And I thought, I should have done that. How did you do that? That's a great idea. And I had it about Victoria Wood and people where you think, brilliant.
Yeah.
And you have a little moment of it, don't you? But then, if you're female,
Then it
you
goes
get
on
over
for
it.
20 years.
No. Then you let it go and you get over it. And you go.
But that's why I think in that generosity, there's a real generosity in your book about other people, and it's
Well, why wouldn't you be, though? I don't understand that.
No,
It's so unpleasant to live in a kind of unkind, mean-spirited place. I can't... most people are very kind to me.
Yeah.
I can't understand why you wouldn't be that back. And actually, when I've felt unkind things about some people in my life, normally killing with massive kindness just helps me to be left in a much better place. That's what I feel. So it's selfish in a way. Could you come out of it thinking, yeah, I was kind to you, cunt. Oh, let's just say cunt. Cunt. Anyway.
But did Absolutely Fabulous start as a French and Saunders sketch to begin with?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, we.
So that must have made you furious.
No. What you forget is that I am on the credits, so I'm not furious. I just built a new conservatory. The Absolutely Fabulous Conservatory. Didn't have to do anything with it. It was an old rope. She did all the work, and I, just...
That's true.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and she's kind again about that, because really, ultimately, we wrote a sketch. And it was I think it was the longest sketch we'd ever done. It was something like 23 minutes.
Right.
The sketch, which was, unusual.
Yeah.
But in those days, we had control over things like that in our show. We used to edit stuff. So if we wanted something very fast, we'd do it. If we wanted something long, we'd do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes unwisely, we used to fight for things to be long and say, yeah, but we weren't looking for laughs in this. It's not that kind of sketch. It's the kind of sketch people need to think about. Total tosses, but at the time we would fight, tooth and nail to keep something unfunny in if we thought it was mattered. But anyway, that's that sketch. Jennifer was particularly great in that sketch, and I played her daughter. I never was going to be able to be Safi when it came to it, because I don't think I can be Jennifer's daughter, to be honest. Although, isn't it weird that if you tell people things, like, for instance, in Vicar of Dibley, it's just reminded me, the man who played Gary Waldhorn, who plays David Horton, right? And then James Fleet is his son.
Yeah.
James Fleet, I think, I'm sorry, James, if I get this wrong, is something like 4 years younger than Gary Waldhorn.
Yeah.
But if you say, this is the father, this is the son, everybody goes, okay. I just believe you.
It's the magic of show business.
Yeah, I know, it's bonkers. It's mad, that. So I might have been able to play her daughter, even though I'm a year older than her. But I think it was better to have Julia do it.
Yes, I think so. And when you went to do this stand-up show on your own, have you ever done anything on stage on your own before?
I did a play called My Brilliant Divorce. But, that was something written by somebody else, and, I had to play lots of different characters in it. And it was very much a play. Whereas this, not really stand-up, to be honest. I haven't got stand-up music in me, weirdly. I can't do stand-up. I mean, I can play a character who's a stand-up, if you like, and I've done that before. I've written a character that's a stand-up. But I've never really done stand-up.
I think if you're standing on stage, it doesn't have to be gags to be stand-up. If you're doing a theatrical show, but it's a one-person show, and it's even if it's lots of serious bits.
But there's a kind of gagometer, isn't there? Or there's a music that goes with stand-up that goes something like this. In my head, this is how it goes.
Not at my gigs. But I had a similar thing in that I really believed I could only do stuff with other people, and then I sort of had to force myself to perform solo. So I just wondered, was it a conscious decision to do that? Was it a difficult shift to make that, or was it?
No, I knew I wanted to tell this story. I knew it was my story. I knew I'd have to be up there on my own. I did want to see if I could hold an audience for, a couple of hours in the end. Yeah. But I knew it would have to have, for me anyway, it would have to have a kind of narrative drive in it, and it would have to have funny stories to make the other stories palatable, if you know what I mean. Because I talk in that show a bit about, my dad committed suicide and stuff, so I talk a bit about that. And I guess if I'm going to take an audience to a genuine, difficult, painful place like that, it's my job to cheer everybody up afterwards. But weird things happened with this show, which was things like I decided to talk, in the first act of this show, I kind of introduced everyone to my family, various people in my family, who I'm then going to knock off in the second part of the show, because, they're dead now. Trump's your cat. Orphan. Just because we'll keep coming back to that. Just go for the sympathy. But anyway, I know that's what's going to happen, and all that. I don't want to be manipulative about it, but I need to kind of prepare people for it a bit. And I realised that I did this difficult stuff about my dad, and then I told stories about my mum. Now, you know, instead of I cherry-picked stories, obviously, otherwise we'd be there all night. Certain stories about madness of my mum, you know, the kind of crazy side of her, so that we can all have a laugh to get over what we've just had to sit through, if you like. But then I realised one day I was in the car, and this was several weeks in, so I can't pretend that I was clever enough to thread this in correctly in some clever way. But I just thought, God, that's what happened in life. My mum cheered us up. Right. My mum picked us up after this awful tragedy. Yeah. And now she's doing it again in this show. But, you know, it's not entirely rounded picture of my mum, but it serves the right purpose. And, I just thought, I like that resonance. I like that. That feels authentic. That's right, yeah.
Have you seen David Baddiel's show?
I did. Weirdly, he was at the vaudeville the week before I went in this last week. We've just done it a week ago so that we could film it. Yeah. And because we couldn't film it before because of the weird vertigo wobblies that were going on. And I went to see his show and I thought, isn't this interesting? People of a certain age, I mean, he's younger than me, but people of a certain age are feeling interested in talking about their actual lives now. Instead of lives as jokes, it's lives as lives with real stuff in. Yeah. You know, but good and very genuinely touching show that he did.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds similar, you know, in that it's, I mean, his is very, I mean, brutally honest in places.
It is, yes.
But then very funny as well.
Absolutely, yeah. But he is a stand-up, you see. So when it comes to the jokes in his show, it's got that music bit, whereas mine is just, I think it's storytelling. That's what I think it is, you know. Yeah. And is there a difference in stand-up?
I don't think. I mean, they're all different types of stand-up. I mean, like when you started in stand-up, there were literally so many different types of stand-up. And I think maybe stand-up has kind of homogenised into being 2 or 3 different things now. Yeah. But like in the 80s, I mean, I sort of caught the tail end of some of those acts who were smashing records or melting ice as their act, and like bona fide crazy people who managed to make £100 at night and live off of that. Yeah. And it was a very you
could do 2 gigs a night. You could do 3. Yeah. And you could do that 7 nights a week.
Yes.
And you know what was very weird was that when we were at the comic strip doing live comic strip, at one point we did do 7 nights a week, and Jennifer and I earned a £5 a night. Right, a £5 each a night. So French and Saunders cost £10 a night, right? We after about 6 weeks, there was a bit of a meeting, bit of a democratic meeting where we all sat down to discuss something. I think someone from Channel 4 wanted to film some of it or something. Yeah. And we discovered the boys were on hundreds and hundreds of pounds. And it was Rick, actually, who stepped up and said, I think it's time the girls earn the same as us. Yeah. We went, what? What? That was, you know, it was 6 months in. Yeah. Maybe they thought we wouldn't last, I don't know. But we didn't know. We just thought, £5? That's great. 7 times 5? That's £22.
It's kind of interesting that it was also right on, and that was let go for a while before someone went, well, maybe we should give them £10 each.
Dreadful, really. I mean, and they were very apologetic when they found out. Bought us lots of beers. That's not the money, though, is it?
No.
I
will ask you some emergency questions because I could just.
Emergency.
They're emergency questions. This isn't
an emergency. What is the emergency? What do you fear, Richard?
It's usually my own running out of something to say or becoming too big a fanboy. So right. I will.
I was hoping you might lick me up the legs by the end of the evening. You know, I mean, in a nice way, in a respectful way. Like you do for your elders, you know.
My wife's almost given me permission.
Well, I did on the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme.
All right. Actually, I want to ask you this one because I'll be interested in. Have you seen the film The Human Centipede?
No.
Do you know what it's about?
No. I'm afraid. Tell me what it's about.
Well, the question is, if you had to do a human centipede with 2 other people, you're in the middle. Which 2 people? You can choose the people. Which 2 people and at which end would they go? So the human centipede.
It sounds unsavoury.
It is very unsavoury. It's more unsavoury than anything you can imagine.
Is it?
It's a film.
Not than anything I can imagine, Richard. You don't know what I can imagine.
I think this is about as bad as it gets. It's a film in which a man kidnaps some people and without their consent. It's really wrong. If you want to do this, please ask for consent. And he sews the anus of one of the person to the mouth to the anus. So the person at the front's on all fours, and then the next person behind has their mouth sewn to the anus of that person, and then the next person does the same.
I do hate it when that happens.
But it's going to happen to you, Dawn. And you're in the middle.
It's never happened to me.
But it's going to in this question.
I would choose.
You
want
could choose.
To know who I would choose?
Yeah, someone to eat the shit of and someone to shit into the mouth of. You'd be shitting the shit of the person you've eaten the shit of as well as your own shit.
Now you've said that, I can't think of anyone. Before that, I could think of some lovely safe people.
Okay.
Like Wayne Sleep and Rylan. Those are the people I would choose to have front and back.
It's got such big teeth.
But I wouldn't
would you
be
want Rylan at the
them.
back?
I wouldn't be sewn to them.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be interacting with their feces in any way.
That is
What's wrong with you?
That's a big part.
What's happened? What happened in your childhood, Richard? You've got a lovely wife and a baby.
I didn't write the
Do you
human
talk to your
centipede.
baby with that filthy potty mouth? Yeah.
My daughter's just started to find farts funny.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're my farts.
Yeah.
And so like when every morning I go in, it's early in the morning and I fart and she laughs.
Yeah.
And she's got this game where she can get this dog around in outer space. It's like it's an astro dog, and it gets to a planet that farts. And when it gets to that, she goes, Dada. When it goes, Dada.
So you've come to symbolise just a huge fart.
She doesn't really like me very much.
And that's charming for how long, do you think? Just for some babiness and not much further than that.
I've got some great questions here.
Yes.
But I'm
Make them not as disgusting as the last one.
I'm trying to look for one that isn't disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm not even started reading this one, let's see where it goes. If you had to drink the entire contents of a well-stocked sperm bank... Oh, it turned out to be disgusting. Or be placed in a coma for 10 years where everyone thinks you're not conscious, but you actually hear and feel everything. Which option would you take?
It's an early taxi. Early one. Yeah, I think I'd rather be unconscious.
Would you?
Yeah.
Because I think in that option you're still going to end up drinking a lot of sperm. No, I'll try and find a nice
you're
one.
much more horrid than I remembered you.
I'll ask a nice one. Have you ever flown a kite?
So now you've turned into Mary Poppins.
Down in Cornwall.
Oh, you're just trying to be nice now and you don't even
one of
really
my
mean
official-
it. It's fake. That's a fake
That's
question.
one of my official... I can
Is
find it
it?
in here, yeah. It's a good question.
Have you ever flown a kite?
Have you ever flown a kite?
I've never managed to get a kite off the ground and up, but I've taken over when it's in the air.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I know that's slightly girly, and
No,
I'm
that's good.
slightly ashamed of that, but I feel like I'm in a safe company and forgiven by others for not getting the kite off the ground.
Yeah.
But I could if I wanted to.
Yeah, no, it's difficult.
If I
I find it difficult.
Whereas some of the other questions I couldn't if I wanted to. Even if I wanted to.
I just thought you lived down in Cornwall. There must be some good
Yeah.
kite flying conditions down there.
Well, I live on a cliff in Cornwall, so you don't fly a kite on a cliff.
That's
do
the
you?
ideal place to do them.
No, you need running space, don't you? And there's another thing I don't do. Honestly, wouldn't you love to run? If you didn't have bosoms, you could run. That's what I would. If I could be, this is a question.
Yeah.
You should ask emergency questions. Who would you like to be? What body would you like? If you just had 24 hours to be in a different body.
Yeah.
Because I like my body. I don't really want to be in anybody else's body. But in order to run really fast. Like, just keep running, like, have long legs that just run like the wind and no bosoms flopping about that can injure you. I would love that. Who is that? Who is that? Whose body is that?
If I had 24 hours, I'd go for the bosoms.
Would you?
Yeah. I'd go for the flapping bosoms for
Would
24
you?
hours. Yeah, I'd love that.
They are a source of constant entertainment, I have to say. It's amazing that I leave the house, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I know. I'm very happy in my own company.
Have you ever been to the Shipwreck Museum in Cornwall? Where did we go? Where Poldark's filmed?
Charlestown?
Yeah.
Is there a shipwreck museum? I think there is,
There is, yeah.
No, I haven't been there. Is it good?
No, it's not very good, but it's,
I don't know.
I should give it. It's very. There's a lot of stuff in there.
Is there?
It's like a museum, because some of the exhibits are so old. It's like going to an old museum to see.
Okay.
So
yeah.
you can. That's quite.
I've been to a couple of very good museums like that in Cornwall. Well,
Yeah.
there's a model village, which isn't really a model village, in Polperro,
Right.
which is just in a bloke's backyard, and he's got some bricks and painted them, and he recreates the flood of 1950 something
Right, okay.
by throwing a bucket of water down on top. Paid £2.50 for that.
Once you're down in Cornwall, though, there's not much you can do, is there? Like,
No,
so
no,
if you
no.
go to the tourist attraction, this is
I'm
all we have.
delighted to see that.
Yeah.
But there is a scary museum in Boscastle, which is the Witches Museum, if you've been there.
I haven't. I would
Where
love
you go
to.
and think, oh, that's funny, and you think, shit. No, it really genuinely is shockingly
Yeah.
frightening. There are puppets and things that have been made.
We have to go back. I love Cornwall, though.
Yeah,
Well, I
it's
love the West
best.
Country.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Because you're from Cheddar.
Yeah, I mean, Cheddar's barely in the West Country, but it's compared to Cornwall. I mean, it's so far away, isn't it, Cornwall?
Cornwall is a long way
You've
away,
got to
thank
make
God.
an effort.
Yeah. Cornwall
I
is
have to
great.
do this. This is a thing I have to do.
I
I'll
have
ask
to
you
do?
as a question. Yeah.
Why are you saying you have to do it?
Do you have an accountant at the moment who looks after your stuff?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do, thank you.
Well, because I
Why,
would like.
are you offering me
No,
one?
I was going to say if you didn't have one, I was going to recommend that you use the Harsh Singh, who's a sole practitioner chartered accountant, offering accountancy, payroll, and tax return completion service to small businesses.
So you are sponsored tonight, are you, by this person?
Harsh Singh.
Are they in this
I don't think they're here. I think I think he lives in Reading or somewhere like that.
harsh
Swindon.
thing?
Harsh Singh, yeah. His first name's Harsh, but don't be racist.
It'd be great to have a first name, Mr. Harsh.
Harsh, yeah. My company name is HF Singh and Co Limited.
In Reading.
I can't remember where it is. Well, let's look it up because I've got the
You never
address
know.
here.
You never know.
HF Singh,
Yeah.
which is SINGH, and I've already visited there, and co.uk. I'm glad there isn't a camera on there that shows what the suggestions that come up are before that.
See this?
He's,
I don't own one of these.
Do you not?
No, I know. I'm a bit of a... I know.
It's
Luddite.
really good. You can put podcasts and stuff
Well,
up
I
on there.
have got an iPad, so I
Have
can
you?
go on the goggle, but I don't... that's all I use it for.
You can ring him on +44. I don't give
Is there a
that.
picture of
There isn't. There's a picture of a nice lady there.
Oh, Harsh.
It looks to me like he set up his own
I'd like
website
to get to know him,
and
just so I can use his name.
he's used some stock footage. You've got some. Look at the pens those men are using. That's the kind of guy.
Yeah, they use pens,
UPS.
they've got
Nice.
suits,
There's some women
there's
laughing.
people...
I imagine if you go to Harsh Singh's office, it's just
Yeah,
like
they
this.
do graphs, look.
We're having fun looking
Yeah,
at
they
it.
know how to do a pound sign. But they're qualified, obviously.
You can contact him. He's in Slough.
Oh,
He's near the
well,
hospital.
I can't,
Near the
I'm afraid
hospital.
then. I can't,
Near the
I'm
hospital.
afraid. No.
He would like to use. He
Not
might give you a
Slough.
discount.
Not Slough.
No.
Never.
He sounds good though, doesn't he? He's amazing.
Yeah. How much
I-
is he giving you for that?
Not that much, really, given how much time we spent on it. But if you're in the Slough area and looking for a chartered accountant, you're a small business. I hope this works for him. He can't. Not that good an accountant if he thinks it's worth spending 200 quid on that, is it? That's
So have you already had the 200 quid?
yeah.
All right, so you can say whatever
Yeah,
you like
say anything
about
you
him. And does he know that you can say anything
He
you
does.
like
I
about
think
him?
he would like it.
Would
That's
he?
I think that's the kind of guy Harsh is.
Okay.
I like Harsh. I know. He's a memorable name, Harsh Singh. He
Yeah.
emails me sometimes. Hi, Harsh. Hope I'm saying that right.
I had to meet his brother Soft.
So, is it true that you are going to take over the Bake Off with Jennifer?
No! As Jennifer said, bollocks. I said bollocks. I think that's because they really, well, a couple of things, of course, they wanted to create a little stir, didn't
Yeah.
they, really? And I think it's because what other two girls are there working together? I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
They just thought, oh, the other two, then, the older two, get them. Absolutely not. No.
I mean, it's a bit of a poison chalice to take that job
Well,
anyway.
it'll probably work perfectly nicely
Yeah.
but on the other channel. It'll be a different thing, but
Yeah.
they don't have to get many viewers to be very pleased.
No.
So it's all right.
Well, they've made lots of money. For
Yeah,
the
it's all
company,
right.
so
And
it's
Mary
nice.
will get her own thing, and Mel and
Yeah.
Sue will get their own things, and everybody will be happy.
Yeah.
So it's only about cakes. It's just a program. programme about cake.
Yeah. You probably get free cake, as many cakes as you
Yeah,
want.
but I can get that if I want. Well, no, maybe not free, but I'm happy to pay for cake. I don't want to be known as a cake freeloader ever.
No. Fair enough. I wouldn't mind. If you're watching, I'll do it. So I know a lot of people think, oh, whoever does that, what a Judas. I'll do it.
Yeah, no, what they'll do...
I'll do it if you can get Stuart Lee to do it. I'll do it. I'll do it for free. Just to look at his face.
Do you think that they think, oh, Richard Herring, he's a lovely man. Let's go and have a look at his podcast and see what sort of a bloke he is. And then they'll come across the centipede.
Yeah.
And that's you. That's you finished
It
with
is.
the bake-off. You're done.
Luckily, I've created so much stuff on the internet that it's hard to find. The journalists would have to work very hard and work, do some proper work,
To
which they don't like to
plough
do.
through loads.
They have to listen to hours and hours of stuff to get, admittedly,
Of toxic
the stuff that will mean I will
stuff.
never work on TV. But, I think I could become a politician. I could, try and turn the political situation around. They go, oh no,
No.
that thing
Look
I
at
said.
the dirty things he says.
That might come up.
So, Stuart Lee,
Yeah.
do you... This is all over, is it?
I think so.
Is there
yeah.
hatred
No,
in the room?
No.
No,
I think
it's just awkward. Is it
no,
awkward
it's
now?
not.
Probably quite
It's
awkward now,
not.
what I'm asking you.
No, it was a bit weird the last time I had him on here, but he's. But apart
Did
from
he come
that,
come
he's
on?
come on
to
here.
say-
Yeah, we're still all right. We're okay. I mean, I'd never want to see him or speak to him again. But apart from that, we're really good.
Do you have happy memories?
Yeah, well, sort of. It was so. I think we worked really hard, and we were right in each other's pockets all the time. So it was very difficult, and we were friends when we started. But then you're working with someone all the time, and we're quite different. So it flashed by so fast that I sort of I regret that we didn't sit back and enjoy it a bit more, when it was happening. Because you sort when you're young, you think, oh, this is fine, this has happened, this and this.
But do you admire his brain and stuff?
Nah, I know him. He's not clever at all.
Oh, you do?
I know him in real life. He just took all the things I said and then just made them longer. That's all he did. So that's...
Listen, I think when you work in a double act, you have to do a massive amount of compromising. And you also have to kind of take a measure of each other all the time. We kind of, without ever saying it, we decided never really to row very much.
Yeah.
You just think, oh, I'm going to back off here. This matters enough to you. All right, we'll do it that way.
I think
she would do the same the other way.
You were young when you met each other. I think we were just too... I think we were still going at each other over really insignificant stuff. And maybe it was working out of the sexual tensions he felt for me. He tried to masturbate me with a ventriloquist dummy. And it's...
Did he?
Yeah.
I'm strangely aroused by
It was not. I had the dummy on last week. You could have met him, but it's. But no, I think we really argued about things that there was no point in arguing about. And I think if we were to work together now, then you would just go, well, who cares?
Well, the boys at the comic strip threw beer at each other and stuff like that, and had sort of weird manly rows that they. Well, are they manly? What's manly about them? They would hold grudges for a long time and then they had a big pat on the back and a bit of a cry, and then they'd get on with it.
Yeah.
And usually Jennifer and I would be the ones negotiating that because it's just too much tension otherwise.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting, all that stuff. But I think that's interesting. And there are definitely double acts that, I think Anton Deck, they seem to be genuinely friends with
they
each
live
other.
next door to each other,
Yeah.
don't they? We've decided. I don't even know that as fact, but I've decided it. Yeah.
So there are people who generally love each other and want to spend. I just think it's very difficult if you want to. You've got together for a different reason in a way. If you've got together to work and then it becomes a job.
Yeah. Well, the way I know that I love Jen so much is because I don't get to see enough of her.
Right.
And in fact, I saw her this week, and because I've had this horrible cold, I said to her, we were going to go out and grab a bit of supper together, and I said, I just feel rubbish. She said, I'll bring a takeaway round to you. And so she came round to my flat, and we literally tucked our feet up, ate rice takeaway, and watched Bake Off. Ironically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shouting at everyone on
Could
there.
be us. I reckon if you wrote to them and said, "Can we do it?" they'd say, "Yeah."
Never going to happen. Never going to happen.
And you've been. There's lots of. there's so much to talk to you about.
Yeah.
But you've done. I don't know why I wasted my time with all that human centipede stuff. Now I look back on it.
Yeah, you're ashamed of yourself now.
It seemed
You
almost
feel dirty.
gratuitous.
You feel like a lesser man.
No, I feel better. You've done opera and Shakespeare.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't, when you say you've done
Yeah.
opera, that sounds like I've sung an opera. And I have to say, for one tiny little nanosecond, when the offer of the opera came through, it was a Donizetti opera at the Royal Opera House.
Yeah.
And they asked me if I would play, Le Marquise de Krakenthorpe in it. I thought, woohoo, this sounds great. And there was just a little deluded moment when I thought, yeah, they've realised that I am a great singer. How do they know? Are they in my bathroom? Because that's when I'm really great.
Yeah.
I'm in my car.
Yeah.
And then I realised, no, it's the comedy talking part. And then I had a bit of a wake-up call because it's in French, obviously. And I thought, I did A-level French, I can manage a bit of French. And it was a French director, and I went along and started doing the French. I'd learnt it off by heart, and they just started laughing a lot at the French, and they called it franglais.
Oh.
They said I was speaking hilarious franglais. So then I had to pretend that was my intent all along. To sound not very French at all. Just dying inside, thinking that was my best French. Obviously no good. It's ironic when you think of my name.
It is.
Yeah.
It must have been, some ancestor couldn't do it either, and someone thought, let's call him. It's like Little John, hilarious, old school, hilarious names.
Yes.
And so you were in Midsummer Night's Dream.
I was.
You were bottom.
I was bottom in that, which is great. Gave my bottom on the West End stage.
If you had to sew your bottom to the mouth of
no,
someone,
stop it!
The character.
You're a dirty, horrid boy. And I like it. That was good fun. Yeah, we had a good hoot doing that. And we did it for, I did it for 3 months or something. It was weird being a girl doing bottom because she used to fall in love with name of actress, wonderful actress. Yes, Titania, but the lovely actress who played it, Redgrave. No, not daughter of Vanessa, daughter of Corinne. Gemma. Thank you.
Yeah.
God, please don't tell her I had to think.
She listens to this. That's the
and it was weird because we had sort of not sex scenes exactly, but fancying scenes.
Yeah.
But she was, she was full of potion, wasn't she, in her eyes, and so it was good fun. I like that a lot.
Do you find, with a play, I just sort of think, does it just get boring, or is it still all right?
I like it. I like doing the same thing every night. I quite like it because I think you can get better at it all the time. You can hone it. Jennifer hates it. We did one play together, and the shock on her face when she had to return the next night and do it again. And we did it for, I think we did it for 4 months.
Right.
And she was in hell. She just hated it. And whereas I really loved it, but I spent all the time cheering her up. And persuading her that we do something a little bit different the next night. I had to do things like, we had a kissing scene in it actually, two women who get a bit drunk and say, if only I could fall in love with you, everything would be alright, get rid of this guy. And so I would start passing messages to her in the kiss, little things that she got, ping pong balls, anything she dared to pass in my mouth that I could put in my mouth just before the kiss and get into her mouth and nobody would see it in the audience. It's very unprofessional, isn't it? Very unprofessional, but I do things like that just to keep her interest. But she's never done a play since.
No.
It was so terrible for her that she just didn't do it.
I think I just find if you're doing someone else's thing, you can't mess around. You can mess around a bit, but you can't really mess around.
Yeah, no, you can't. But there's another thing going on, which is that you get it better and better and better and better. Yeah. And actually by the end of the run, you think, we're doing it so much better than at the beginning.
Sure. Yeah, I went to see Groundhog Day the musical, which is very good.
Is it?
Yeah, but I just thought for those people in that play, it's the worst. It was a really terrible play to me. But I would imagine that would drive some actors insane because it's like literally going to work and.
Well, there are people in the Mousetrap who, played the ingenue once upon a time and then now play the old dead person. Because they've been doing it for 30 years. Imagine that. You wouldn't know it. Because there is a total fear that goes with not knowing a play.
Yeah.
And I still have those dreams. Do you ever have those dreams of not learning something? Have you done many plays?
I did not for a long time, lots at university and bits and pieces, but yeah, I always have dreams about not learning that. I had a dream that Paul McCartney was on this podcast and I hadn't done any research into it. I was thinking, oh, what's he done? And I was thinking, I remember some quite good stuff about him, he's quite famous. I was feeling really bad that I hadn't really researched him. I have researched you. So that's amazing how bad it is if I've done no research.
You would have to say to Paul McCartney, welcome to Richard Herring Unprepared. You'd have to call it something like that, unresearched.
It's sort of be embarrassing not to know everything about Paul McCartney. I asked him if, in my dream, I asked him whether he had been replaced by a lookalike in 1963 after he had a car crash. And he said he couldn't remember he'd have to read his autobiography.
Did he?
Yeah. Well, he didn't, because it's inside my brain, unless he was dreaming and we just collided. So he was dreaming about being on the podcast. When will Rich ask me to be on? Everyone, one minute from me. Let's not talk about my dreams, where we have to talk French here. Unless they involve talk French, which...
Unless we've all collided in a big centipede kind of way.
It's a bit like doing a dream sometimes, this podcast. Did I really say that? They can't talk French, can't have been here. Are you doing any more Roger and Val have just got in?
No, sadly not. I love that. I loved it. And the women who write it, Beth and Emma Kilcoyne, the twin girls from Sunderland, they're such clever people, but they are currently writing my first novel for telly.
Oh, right.
So I won't let go of them because the writer is so good.
Yeah.
I loved making that show with Fred Molina. Something really weird happens with Fred Molina, by the way, when I'm just thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Fred Molina is a proper actor, where an extra thing happens, which is that when you're acting with him and you're in the room and you see his face up close, you think then, oh, that's pretty impressive. But when you look at the edit, even more things are happening than you saw with your own actual eyes. How mad is that? It must be like it's the X factor, isn't it? It's the other thing.
Yeah.
I haven't got that.
Well,
what you see is what you get. What's happening in the room is what you get, and nothing extra.
You look at you and you're going, why is that woman looking at his face so much and being impressed? What's going on with that?
But he is an extraordinary actor, and I loved making that, and it was so touching.
Yeah.
To have a piece which is sort of on so many layers, if you like, and about loss, and people coping with it, and a couple that really love each other and are just trying to get through.
Yeah.
But because the end of the second series, it's not really a spoiler, as it was years ago now, a child comes into that house, and so they suddenly have everything they wanted. So it's it was the right ending. There's nothing further to say.
No, good. Is the book the According to Yes? Is that the one?
No. It's the first novel I wrote, which is called A Tiny Bit Marvellous.
Oh yes.
And there's a family in there, and the Kilcoyne sisters are writing that for telly.
And you're going to be in that as well?
No, I'm too old to be the mum in that. I especially write characters that I can't play. I don't write books so that I can be in them. I have a think about it, but I'm too old to play that.
So, According to Yes is about a nanny.
It's about a nanny.
And is this based on your...
That's the latest novel.
Yeah.
I was a nanny I wasn't really a nanny, that's wrong to say that. I was lucky enough to win a scholarship to go and study in New York for a year when I left school. This was with the English Speaking Union, who hosted all this debating society and stuff. And my drama teacher, the one I had such a huge crush on, encouraged me to do this debating at school. And Michael Foot, who was our local politician in Plymouth, who played number 99 for Plymouth Argyle. Who are we? Green Army. And Michael Foot was there on this particular night. Anyway, I managed to win a place on this scholarship, and only 15 kids went from this country to America, and 15 kids from America came to this country. And it wasn't a direct swap, but various schools had agreed to have these kids. And they asked you on the questionnaire, where you wanted to live in America. And I'd only lived I'd lived around the country with my dad and stuff, but I hadn't lived in London, I hadn't lived in big cities or anything. And so I wanted to ride horses, of course. So I put Oklahoma, Kansas. I wanted to go to big, wide open plains, or where I thought you'd ride horses with big saddles and stuff like that. Every other kid put New York. Every other kid put New York as their number one choice, and they perversely gave me New York.
Right.
And so I was furious that I was going to New York, but of course, New York.
Yeah.
So I landed in New York at age 18.
Right.
And I remember being on the plane and thinking, nobody knows me there. So I'm going to pretend to be like really confident British girl. I'm going to be in control of everything. Let's see if I can convince people that this is who I am. And it was a very weird thing that worked out for me, that they believed it. And then my own courage kind of caught up with that confidence a bit. It was very weird. Anyway, I lived with a family there, and I went to school in New York. And but I had no money. I ran out of money very quickly, mainly because I was eating pizza. They have pizza shops, you can buy a slice.
Yes, yeah.
On every corner. So I bought a slice on every corner. And I just got fatter and fatter and fatter. And I was so happy. I could not have been happier. Dripping cheese. It was just, bloody lovely. And but I ran out of money. I think I took something like 300 quid, which I'd earned as a chambermaid in working in Devon in Salcombe. And my dad had given me a bit of money. But it ran out very quickly. So I was going to have to come home because I had no money. And I thought, this can't happen, I've got to get a job. And my mates, who I was at school with, said, you should do a bit of babysitting, and they pay very well, and they'll pay you very well because you're British. So I got a job. I mean, I had never looked after anybody's kids whatsoever, but somehow they just assumed I was Mary Poppins or something. And I got a job where, they give you the keys to their flat and the charge of their child, And quite a lot of money an hour to be a babysitter. So there was one particular guy who, I better not name his son, but anyway, he was something the third, his son. It was that kind of family.
Donald Trump.
Yeah. And it was that kind of money, weirdly. And he was getting divorced from his wife, and so he had his son every other week. And my job was to pick this little boy up from school, take him home, feed him, wait till his dad got home, which was normally quite late, a little bit drunk, telling me all about how much he missed his wife and whatever. It was very weird, all at age 18. And I felt very sorry for this little chap. So that was kind of the seam that I mined for according to Yes, really.
Cool. And so is the novel writing something you would...
I love it.
Yeah.
I really love it, partly because I want to live in Cornwall. I want to be there with my husband and my kids down there. And I just found out that I'd collaborated about everything I'd ever done in my life. And, I collaborated at the comic strip and Girls on Top and Jennifer and, a business that I have for clothes. I collaborated with another woman, and everything I'd ever done was that. Yeah. And I thought, when I wrote that autobiography that you're talking about, I realised that I could visit my own head and be in control of every single word without any compromise whatsoever, and I really like that. I think I'm a shocking control freak. And I didn't know that about myself until I sat and did some writing.
Sure.
So then I wanted to do more and more and more of it.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, so you're incredibly well. You're just good at everything. It's insane, and you're the nice. I kind of wanted to get to find the nasty you inside, and there doesn't seem to be.
I can be less than fragrant at times.
But like you are, you're really loved by everyone. It must be a weird. When you're out and
I think
about,
it's because I've played a vicar. I think that's why.
Maybe, but I think even without that, I think it's just you must have a lovely life where everyone just loves you everywhere you go.
Well, but very few people are horrid to me. That's true. And I joined twatting with the twits in November. I've managed to kind of catch up with that. That's about the extent of my IT skills. And I know other people said to me, you'll read lots of horrible things, you need to be but I don't. And I don't know what that is. Maybe somebody is getting rid of all that for me. I don't know. That doesn't seem to come at me.
Right.
But I don't know why particularly, but it's normally quite pleasant on there.
Well, it's sort of weird with Twitter because it started off being a very pleasant place to be, and then it's...
Oh, maybe I haven't got to the
Well, I know, but
yet.
I just think whoever you are, there's... people there aren't. That's the one place in the world I think you might even get some unpleasant stuff.
Well, bring it on. I'm ready for it.
Well, it's kind of
fun.
I'm
a fighter.
Yeah.
I'm not scared.
No.
And I will go in low and hard. I've got a brother. I've learned how to wrestle. And I will bite.
Yeah.
I'm not scared to bite. I'll bite you, actually, and I wouldn't be afraid to. But I would bite you sort of somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And it hurts. I'm telling you now, it hurts. And I don't release. I'm like a little terrier. There you are. You found the dark underbelly of me. I'm quite violent.
So it's been all right. It's turned out all right for you, and life's been all right.
Yeah. Oh, it's been great. I tell you, it's been. I haven't finished yet.
No.
If that's all right with you, I've still got a few more chapters.
It's 2016, so I just thought, just in case.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Thus far,
Once
the
you're through
story
2016,
thus far is
right.
pretty good. Yeah. And it changes, you know, everything changes along the way. I never thought I'd be remarried and have 2 extra kids and weird stuff like that. If you'd asked me that 15 years ago, I would never have known that would happen. But it does happen, you know, you have to be optimistic.
Do you get free chocolate oranges?
Well, I do get given them. You
do?
gave me one earlier
that was
today
from
because
someone
people do leave them for me. People leave them for me in hotels. Weirdly. They leave them on the pillow. Chambermaids leave them for me sometimes. Am I upset about that? No, I am not. I would have happily done that advert, just be paid in chocolate oranges. Yeah, they should have me back on that advert, don't you think? I really admired the fact that they had a fat woman advertising chocolate. I thought that was honest and good.
Yeah.
They haven't done that since.
No, it's
Shame.
true.
It's a shame.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's wrong.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Run out of stuff to say.
Okay.
No, I haven't, but I think we should let you know. Thanks so much for doing this. I know you're not very well. And
Yeah,
really,
well, I've just got a bit of a weird... You had a cold, didn't you?
I did. Well, you catch... It's a sexually transmitted diseases you catch off your children.
Hang on. Do we have the police ready? What do you say?
They're sexually transmitted diseases because you have to have sex to have the child, and then the child gives you loads of diseases.
Oh, cleverly whittled away there. Yeah. I'd have marched you myself to the police station then.
So yeah, I've been ill quite a lot.
What diseases have you had?
Just like horrible colds and
Yeah.
I was sick the other week, but I think that was my fault.
Yeah.
I don't think I can blame the child for that one.
Yeah. Never eat a child sick. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that,
No.
Richard, if you're thinking about
Okay,
it.
I won't.
No. Good. There's love of your child, and then it's just a stage too far.
It's nice. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast.
Oh,
I wanted to have you on
it's
for
been
ages.
really great.
And I'm disappointed you haven't cried. And
Yeah.
I'm
Do you want me to
disappointed.
fake
I've nearly
it?
cried a couple of times. And that would have been even worse. If you'd made me cry, that would have been... Kirsty Ward would have been on the phone going,
If I'd known that was the intent, I'd have come out here especially to make you cry. I could still make you cry, but there'd be tears of pain.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you want me to lunge at you and hurt you? Do you want me to bite your thigh?
I was quite interested in that. When I met you at a party in the BBC, I was with my friend and you gave a quite expensive thing of makeup, so I'd like to thank you for that. She was very pleased.
Oh, okay.
So
Good.
thank you for that. You're very nice.
Oh, yeah, well, of course.
Yeah.
I've got 2 of them. You can have one. I've got 2 kids. Do you want one of those?
Well, yeah. Okay.
No, I don't think they're safe in your house. I'm scared now. What with the diseases and everything.
It's nice.
I've got great big adults, not little kids. Shocking.
Yeah.
And I've got a son.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I know.
Like a big, fully cooked one. that I didn't even have to raise until the last 5 or 6 years. Bloody gorgeous to have a son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Although he did pick me up recently and break my ribs.
Really?
Yeah.
Like literally broke them?
Well, fractured them. I'd say break just to get more sympathy.
But that's nasty. I've had that. Tim Key made me jump onto a stool and they'd moved the stool and it hit me in the chest and I fractured one of my ribs.
Did you? How old were you then?
28 years. No, I was about 39.
Yeah. No, he picked me up on a beach because
Yeah.
I was taking too long to get in the water, and I just felt that pump, 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 like that. And I thought, ooh, ah. But I really didn't want him to feel bad, so I went in for a swim, nevertheless. And I was trying to swim near my husband, going, punctured lung, like that. I don't want to upset him. But anyway, I went to the doctor the next day, I had to get all strapped up.
Yeah. It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, but I've tortured him about it ever since, so it's fine. Right.
Well, thank you so much for coming
No,
in.
I'm not going.
Okay, we can stay. You can stay as long as you like. You can't. I can ask you more emergency questions.
No, don't, because they're disgusting.
I can find a nice one.
There isn't a nice one, and you know it.
How about, have you ever tried sushi?
Yeah, but it's not my thing.
No.
It really isn't, is
It's
it?
weird. It's a
Come
weird
on.
thing.
Is it?
Yeah. How about this? This is a good question. Have you ever seen a ghost? You're from Cornwall. Yeah, there must be ghosts.
I haven't seen a ghost.
Right.
But Jennifer has. We moved into a house, right, when we were students. And it was in Hampstead, near where Central School of Speech and Trauma is, that we went to. And she was in a room, and somebody used to come and sit on the end of her bed. She'd tell me about it. She says, bloke keeps coming and sitting. Oh, no, is it a woman? I think it was a woman. Comes and keeps sitting on the end of my bed. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, less of the weed, Jennifer. And she never smoked dope, by the way. She never smoked dope. Never. And anyway, at one point we had to bring in, like, show and tell pictures of our family and stuff. So her mum looked out some pictures. And lo and behold, there's her grandmother outside that very house. Her grandmother had lived in the very house we lived in as students.
And then
What do you think about that?
Spook. It's quite an amazing coincidence, even on its own, even without the sitting on the bed.
Yeah, but
But if you died, sadly, in 100 years' time,
yeah,
would you come back and sit on your grandchild's bed?
no, I wouldn't.
that'd be
I'd have
freaky.
to see if they need a bit of controlling. Yes, I would. Yes. Actually, I would quite like to frighten people.
Yeah, would you?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. But only fleetingly,
Yeah.
just fleetingly.
Yeah.
Did I see it? Didn't I?
Well, that's what they do in it. The ghosts. They keep it on the down low.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
No, they don't exist. So.
Have you ever felt that you're not alone in a big old spooky house?
I tend not to go into big spooky houses on my own.
I stayed in one on the moor once when we were doing Jam in Jerusalem, and I was supposed to be writing during the day, so instead of staying at the pub with everyone else, I booked this house on my own.
Right.
It had big, thick walls like that, and honestly, I was not alone in that house. So I started to... Ooh, a bit mad. I started to speak out to them, and I would come in the door and go, okay, it's your house. It's your house. I'm not staying very long. Just please don't let me see you. I don't want to see you at all. But I genuinely felt that other things were there.
Yeah, but they didn't.
They didn't.
They didn't
never
appear or
turned
say
out because
anything
they
or do
don't
anything.
exist. Do I?
Have you ever seen a Bigfoot?
I've seen a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
I was
it?
married to Lenny Henry, you know. So yeah, I've seen a Bigfoot. Yeah.
I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank
John
you.
Rich, We're back next time with Tony Robinson. Thank you very much.
How'd you like them sky potatoes?